Mm. Mm-mm-mm. I want to beat those fucking guys at some point before I die, preferably. Hey everybody, it's good to be back after a night away from y'all. After the best win of the season, coming 2 nights after the best win of the season, we now have certainly not the worst loss of the season, nowhere close, but a frustrating loss. It is good to be back, despite the fact that this is yet another loss to the Brooklyn freaking Nets. I'm going to try not to curse too much on this otherwise lovely Saturday night. Annoying game. Annoying game, and we'll talk about why it was annoying in a minute. But first, I want to give credit where credit is due. I wasn't able to separate myself out of the moment after the Dallas game, and we witnessed, well, that was one of the great performances in NBA history. What Luka Doncic did in that game, 60 points and what have you. I could do it tonight for whatever reason, and it's weird because Kyrie Irving, as I've said this before, people know my stance on him. Let's just say I'm not a fan of him, the person, but that's just, I mean, that's just greatness. That's greatness, and didn't matter who was guarding him, didn't matter what shot you forced them into over the fourth quarter of that game. There was nothing you were doing to stop that guy, and you tip your cap for sure. You tip your cap, and yes, the Nets have gone. They had gone 2-6 since KD went down with the injury. They are now 3-6, and the 2 wins they had prior to this win were games where Kyrie Irving just went insane and did things that no human being is supposed to be able to do on a basketball court. And now they got their 3rd win. But for as much as I want to give Kyrie his flowers, and again, there's a reason that the players, his peers in the league, voted him ahead of any other guard in the Eastern Conference for the NBA All-Star game, ahead of Donovan Mitchell, ahead of Jaylen Brown, ahead of Tyrese Halliburton, ahead of all those guys. For as much as I want to sit here and be like, well, Kyrie went crazy and that's why we lost the game, anybody who watched this game knows that that is not true. Because the reason the Knicks lost this game is because they kind of started to decide early in the 3rd quarter to start playing defense. They really decided late 3rd, early 4th. Okay, we're gonna defend up to our capabilities now, and that part was so incredibly frustrating to sit and watch this team. I don't really, not that I don't care what the Nets finished with as far as their ultimate their box score from 3 ended up. Actually, I was prepared to look at their final numbers from 3 and be like, okay, they ended up at 38 or 42%. No. They ended up at 55% from 3, 22 of 40 from behind the arc. The point is, even though the Knicks improved their 3-point defense or their defense overall, and they did as the game went on, and specifically as the second half went on, they did not defend at a level that a team needs to defend at if they want to win a game in the NBA today. It doesn't really matter who you're playing, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 teams. But even the Hornets won some games recently. The Spurs beat us this season. The Rockets have won however many games that they anybody could win. If you don't come out and you don't cross your T's and dot your I's on defense, teams are going to be able to beat you. And this Nets team, and I said it during halftime, and I fully believe this, I thought they got a benefit. Maybe this is matchup specific, talking about the Knicks, because the Knicks have obviously had issues guarding the 3 this year. And I don't think a lot of the issues they've had guarding the 3 this year, I don't think those were necessarily the same issues as we saw tonight, and we'll get to that. But I thought the fact that Ben Simmons was out tonight was a good thing for Brooklyn and a bad thing for the Knicks, because it allowed the Nets to always, without fail, have 4 shooters, 4 good shooters, 4 threatening shooters with gravity on the floor. And that is just not something that the Knicks are good at defending. And they did a pretty good job of it against Boston. Boston did hit a commensurate number of threes. Wasn't like this, though. And look, this was ultimately a 7-point loss. I think that's representative of how the two teams fared. Although I do think the Knicks are the more talented team. It's a 7-point loss, and the team that beat you shot 22 of 40 from 3. you could play far. And the Knicks, again, they didn't defend poorly the entire night. They started defending, and even sprinkled in throughout the first half and the beginning of the second half, there were some moments of good individual defense, specifically by the 3-point arc. So I don't want to paint one broad picture, but like you could defend the arc atrociously for 48 minutes and not see a team go 22 of 40 and hit that many shots from behind the arc. And the Nets did, and like a lot of those were really good, just good shots, like shot maker shots with good contests. I'm not even talking about the Kyrie ones at the end, like sprinkled throughout the game. So like, yes, you do want to tip your cap. But again, I'm going to go back to the fact that if the Knicks defended like they were capable of defending throughout the entire evening, this is a game I think they would have won because they are the more talented of these two teams. And they're better with no Kevin Durant. They're better team. And I don't think that that's crazy to say at all. I also thought offensively they wasn't the best offensive game. We're going to go through some of the pock marks, but like, they scored 115 points against the next team with like a guy who right now, if you look at Defensive Player of the Year odds, Nick Claxton, I think, is either the second or third front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. So they got that dude in the middle, and he is playing. I mean, credit to him playing really good defense. Really developed his offensive game. Another guy I was really impressed by tonight was Nick Claxton. But they have guys that just they're small. That's the thing. They're small. With Seth, with Kyrie Irving, when they play a little Patty Mills tonight, yes, they're small. And the Knicks did a really, really good job of taking advantage when they were able to take advantage of Brooklyn's size. And like, Brunson got going a little bit. We're going to talk about RJ Barrett. Don't worry. The apology is going to be louder than the disrespect. But yeah, the Knicks offense tonight wasn't the problem. It was obviously the defense. And again, that is frustrating. It's frustrating. You want to keep it in context. If anyone would have told any of us the Knicks were going to go 2-1 this week with games against Cleveland, Boston, and Brooklyn, any of us would have signed for that on the dotted line. And again, this team doesn't quit. They don't know how to quit, and they didn't quit tonight. There was a moment where, they had a couple moments in the fourth quarter where this, Brooklyn misses a shot. They could come down the other end, make a basket. Maybe it's a tie game. Brooklyn kept hitting the big shot. So give them credit for that. But this is a game they could have won. I would argue this is a game they should have won, and they didn't. Talk about some individual Knicks briefly because I know this is the stuff that always comes up throughout the evening. Trying to decide who I want to start with. There's a couple of guys I feel like we could start with tonight because I sent out a particular tweet that angered very many folk during the Boston game. I will start with RJ Barrett. Do I think that RJ Barrett played a great game? No, I don't think RJ Barrett played a great game. RJ continues to have moments where his misses are more impactful than the misses of anyone else on the team, because it's moments like in the first half where you have a wide open Obi Toppin standing 10 feet behind you and you're taking a tough mid-ranger over three guys. You have moments like that. You have, a rush shot early in the clock where, the shot doesn't hit rim. And there were two of those. He had two. One was off the backboard. Another one didn't hit anything. That spurs a nice fast break opportunity for Brooklyn. I know everybody's like, he said he's going to start by saying nice things about RJ Barrett. What does he do? He kills RJ Barrett. I'm trying to explain why RJ Barrett is so frustrating to me. Because the moments that are bad for him, for whatever reason, maybe it's a me thing. Probably is a me thing because nobody else seems to feel the same way I do. They really do get under my skin. That being said, for as much as he had some of those moments, and especially in the first half, overall tonight, absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And the other part of it, and I've said versions of this before, but I'll say it again, the part of why I get so frustrated with the bad moments is because when you see him in the third quarter, when he's just owning the floor, he's the best offensive player on the court, on a court that contains Kyrie fucking Irving. And RJ Barrett's the best offensive player out there because he's doing whatever he wants. He's working his way into the matchup that he wants. He's methodically taking guys into the post. Nobody could stop him. He's too big. He's too strong. He's too skilled down low. When he takes his time, when he does that stuff, He could be the best offensive player on the Knicks if he does that, if he did that stuff all the time. But you get it mixed in with the other things. And then it creates this topsy-turvy situation. I also thought his on-ball defense tonight was pretty good. I thought there were a couple of moments off ball that could have been a little bit better. But I do think RJ Barrett was the best Knick tonight. And good job by him. And they needed those buckets, especially in the third quarter, because every game is different. And at some point tonight, the Knicks needed to make a push. And I thought their big push, obviously, needed to be in the third quarter. Excuse me. I'm still feeling a little under the weather, so bear with me tonight. His buckets were big, even though they were in the third quarter. Those buckets were really big. So kudos to RJ Barrett. Great job. Great game. Next up, close second. Might have been the first guy that I talked about were it not for my words last night or 2 nights ago. Is Emmanuel Quickley. I'm seeing Benji's tweet. Emmanuel Quickley, what else is new? Emmanuel Quickley plays a great game. He's starting to shoot the ball. He was 4 of 7 from deep. You would have loved the there was one corner 3 I think he had that missed down the stretch, maybe 2. He finished 4 of 7, I feel like, from deep. He was 6 of 11 overall. But just like the guy, I continue to watch these games, and he played for 28 minutes tonight. You could argue he should have played a few minutes more. I'm just waiting for him to make a mistake. Maybe he makes one mistake a game, if that, where you're like, oh, that wasn't a great play, or that wasn't a great look from Emmanuel Quickley. Maybe he makes one a game, and he's spoiling us. And it's like, it's one thing if you have the guy that has very little responsibility and a low usage rate, and he's the one that's only making the 1 or 2 mistakes a game, like a guy like Deuce. A guy like Deuce shouldn't make 1 mistake a game. He should make 0 mistakes a game, because he has such a defined, definitive role. Quickley is not doing a lot more than that. And he's obviously he's the 4th highest usage guy on this team. They go to him even when he's on the floor with either Julius or Brunson. He missed the free throw in the 4th quarter, which was annoying on the possible and one, but like that was an end of clock situation, and Julius stuck him with the ball with 5 to go on the clock. What did he do? Methodically gets to the lane, puts up that floater, which has been money for, it seems like, more than half the year. Again, you'd like to see him make the free throw, but outstanding game, I thought, from Emmanuel Quickley. I don't think anybody played terribly. The problem for New York is nobody else played really well. Like Jalen Brunson had 26 points on 19 shots. Like that, that's a good stat line. This didn't feel like a great Brunson game. And again, I keep saying it, we're spoiled already with Jalen Brunson. That we're sitting here looking at 26 points on 19 shots, 4 assists, 1 turnover, which was talk about a maddening turnover in the 4th quarter. It's like, oh my, worst possible time. Now, granted, I think he came back down the floor immediately and either got a 3-point play or made a basket or something. But yeah, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Again, 26 on 19 shots. It's like you're watching and you're like, yeah, not a great Brunson game, right? Like, how do you justify that with that stat line? Some not great defense, from him. Julius. Oh, Julius. And not just Julius, because it was Obi too. If I don't want to put, you don't put 22 for 40 from 3 on any 1 or 2 players or any one position. But I did think Julius Randle and Obi Toppin were the biggest culprits on the defensive end. And I was scrolling Twitter a little bit. I saw some other people pointed that out. I think Schwinny pointed that out. Good job by him. Schwinn, that's the only time I'll ever give you a compliment, so you better enjoy it. But yeah, if you're Julius, I get you're frustrated with the calls, and I get you're frustrated by Royce O'Neal making your life hell. And I thought Julius, for most of the first half, I thought he played an outstanding game offensively. Save for a couple moments, but I thought he was making good decisions. He had 6 assists in the first half, a couple other shots. Guys had opportunity off of passes from Randall that were really good looks, didn't go down. I thought I didn't mind his process on offense, because that's how the Knicks were running it. Defensively, man, you got to, don't go into screens. Don't sag all the way into the paint when you don't need to. Hustle back out. And like Obi, too. Obi went under that screen on Watanabe. Read your scouting report, man. Read your fucking scouting report. You got to know that guy's shooting lights out from 3 this year. And that was the one that sticks out. I have a feeling there was probably another one with Obi. I didn't think Obi did anything particularly great tonight. Maybe I don't know if I want to say he was the worst player. Grimes, God, I love you, Quentin, but 2 of 7 from 3, those were all good looks. Maybe I'm asking a little bit too much. Maybe if he's 3 of 7, I'm not saying I don't say anything. Feels like gotta start making 1 or 2 more of these. And the Doris Burke mentioned it tonight. I tweeted it out. Closing out the rush now. It's gone too far in the other direction. Like, we praised him so often to like, oh, he's not a guy you can run off the line because he attacks closeouts, and good job by him and the whole thing. You gotta turn those into something good. And there were a couple instances tonight where he attacked the closeout before the closeout even really came. And he flipped the possession in a poor way for the Knicks. Look, Quentin Grimes, second-year player. I'm not going to kill him for it. Jericho Sims, second-year player. This was one of those nights where I felt you really missed Mitchell Robinson. Isaiah Hartenstein, a bad job by me waiting this line to talk about Isaiah Hartenstein. I thought Isaiah Hartenstein followed up two really good games. I thought he was good against Boston, too. Great against Cleveland, good against Boston. I thought he was really good again tonight. Good Isaiah Hartenstein minutes. They needed his offense. How often have we said that? They needed his offense there at the end of the third, big basket, beginning of the fourth. Good Hartenstein game. Yeah, again, this is a game I'm not losing any sleep over this game. It's annoying. I know I've said it in 18 different ways. It's an annoying game to have unfolded in the way that it unfolded. You don't mind losing if a team is going to go insane from behind the arc, but you want to know that you've left your best effort out there. And look, I'll end with this, and then we'll get to moment of the game and personal injury report presented by our friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. I maintain, I know they won these last 2 games against great teams. If you get to the All-Star break at 500, you've done okay. All right? And they're still in good position to do that. All right? So, not the end of the world. Don't let it turn into a long losing streak. We'll go through the upcoming schedule later, but they're still 3 games over, so they have some more wiggle room. And maybe I should set my sights higher. Maybe I should expect them to be 2 games over 500 entering the All-Star break. Maybe we'll talk about it. Okay, moment of the game. I have a couple. I feel like I'm going to go with the fourth Quickley 3 as my first moment of the game contender. That was mid. I'll try to look right now. See if I could see real quick when. Yeah, the fourth Quickley 3 made it 108-103, which was the closest the Knicks had gotten with 3:36 left. I thought that was really big. I thought so that's moment of the game contender number 1. The Quentin Grimes tip shot that got the Knicks to their closest they had been all night, which was within 3 points with 3:07 to go. 108-105, great putback by him. And then I haven't done this yet on one of these for moment of the game, but I am going to give a moment of the game to a player from contender to a player on the opposing team. I'm not giving Kyrie any moment of the game contenders. I've sung his praises enough. No more flowers for Kyrie. I'll give it to Seth Curry because I did think actually in the flow of the game when he made that 3-pointer, it was at the very end of the clock. The Knicks had played outstanding defense for 23 seconds of the possession. And that was right after the Grimes make. The Knicks had been really making a nice little push at that point. They had scored. They were on a 10-2 run before that 3. And I felt like that kind of steadied the ship for Brooklyn. So that's the other moment of the game contender. And before we get to the Super Chats, personal injury report, courtesy of our good friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. Again, it's kind of the same personal injury report we've been doing, which is that Mitchell Robinson, please hurry back, Mitch. Like, I want to talk about this for half a second. I love that Isaiah Hartenstein is showing up, doing what he was paid to do this offseason. Good job by him. I love that Jericho Sims is getting minutes. I think these minutes are valuable for Jericho Sims. I think Jericho Sims is getting better over the course of games occasionally. You could argue he got a little bit better over the course of this game. I thought he had some nice moments. He finished with 6 points and 10 rebounds in 27 minutes. So not terrible. I don't think he's missed a shot in like 2 weeks. We need Mitch back. We need Mitch back. And I'm not putting tonight's defensive issues on the absence of Mitchell Robinson. They could have defended better tonight, but it factors in. So that is your Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury report. Don't forget, call them today if you think you have a possible case, 212-366-6100, or visit weissandrosenblum.com. One more time, 212-366-6100. Talk to a veteran, not a rookie. Were there any rookies on the floor tonight? I don't think the Nets have any rookies. Some second-year players on the court tonight, right? But no rookies in this game. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, let's do it. I'm curious where people's minds are at tonight because I could see this one going in one of a couple of directions. But losses are never overtly positive unless they're really certain type of losses. So, Forgotten NYC. I have a feeling I know which way this is going to go. Okay. I know he's everyone's golden child, but Grimes has been a huge disappointment lately. Shredded on defense and can't hit it open three. I agree it was jarring on 3, 4, maybe 5 occasions to see Grimes just badly get beat off the dribble. And, like they had him on Kyrie late, and those were incredible shots by Kyrie, right? But, I'll go back to a point that I've echoed this point of Benji's, and Benji has made it himself many times, which is that he's not like he does have size limitations, and for that reason, he's probably always going to be a notch below your elite defenders. But to your point, he needs to just be an elite defender for his size consistently, and he was not that tonight. I thought his defense got better as the game went on. But errors in defense, errors again attacking the closeouts, and 2 of 7 from 3 on the looks that he's getting. I'm sorry, I need a little bit more. He's been my golden boy. I've sung his praises to no end. Not a good. I'll correct what I said earlier. I was like, I don't think anyone had a really bad game. Grimes didn't have a good game. Grimes did not have a good game. So, very fair comment to start us off. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy M? I guess 2-1 for the week. I mean, again, I'll take it. I would have taken 2-1 a week ago. But as fans, we get greedy, so big picture, right? I think the reason why I'm not going to lose any sleep tonight is like I don't worry about this team's effort. I don't worry that this team isn't responding to the coach. I don't worry that this team isn't trying to do caring about the right things. Like, I don't worry about those things. I think it's an 82-game NBA season. You are going to have nights where you come out and you're like, maybe a couple of your players are a little flat on the defensive end. Shit happens. They're real people. They have real lives. Like, that's why. And I think big picture, this team is still in a really good place. I like the way. The offense was always the bigger concern for me. I know they're ranked higher in offense than defense now. The offense is still the bigger concern for me moving forward. Because I think when Mitch gets back, we're going to be okay. So I'm not going crazy. So big picture, I still like where this team is at. But, when you're not a great team, and they are not a great team, we hope they're a good team. You really do. You don't want to leave any on the table. And I'm not sure if this doesn't quite qualify, especially with that Kyrie performance late. This doesn't quite qualify as a left on the table game, but you would have liked better. That's it. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Busy. What's going on, Busy? Well, we almost got the sweep on the week. Hashtag top end talent. Great comment, Busy. You were calling 3-0. I feel bad, man, because that was bold. You put yourself out there in a significant way to call 3-0 on the week. And they really should have had it. They should have fucking had it. They should have had it. They should have came out and it. But you know what? You know what I was thinking? I swear to God, this is so bad. as they were falling behind by like 15 points in the first half or whatever it was. I'm watching. I'm like, well, if they went up by 15, if they came out, defended their asses off, and like the Nets weren't hitting threes, and like they were doing what they were doing on offense, and they went up by 15 or 20, I'm not sure I would have felt much better about our chances. And I think that says about all you need to know about the 2022-2023 New York Knickerbockers. Thanks, Busy. Appreciate it. Hannibal Miles, what's going on, Hannibal? Great to hear from you as always. The shot will eventually fall for Quentin Grimes. I agree. Strangely, I think Fournier would have hit it. Is there one? I guess there was one. There was one moment, right, where Grimes had a three that would have cut it to. I should have written this down. It's a bad job by me. I'll look it up. But yeah, there was at least one. I forget exactly the moment you're talking about, but I'll check it right now. Jew should have just went for the layup. Props to the unselfishness. Now I know the one you're talking about. Yes. So that was with 1:45 to go and a chance to cut it to 1. And Julius was on the right side of the court. And initially I was annoyed because and again, I would have to rewatch it. I thought he had RJ in the corner. I mean, RJ was in the corner and he was looking for the ball. I thought RJ was open enough that was the pass. And I'd be lying if I didn't think to myself for a second, like, I wonder why I didn't just kick it right to RJ. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But look, it was great. It was a great look. It was a good job by Randall to find Grimes there, and didn't go in. It's annoying. But again, try to spin it to a positive, big picture. Julius didn't end up having a great game. Didn't shoot it well. Let the refs get to him. Didn't defend well at all. Defended horribly. From a process standpoint, from how he's approaching the game, from how he's approaching the offensive end of the floor, I'm good with where he's at. And I don't know how you could complain too much. And I still think he deserves to make the All-Star team. Thanks, Animal. Joseph J. What's going on, Joseph? Doris Burke said it best. The Knicks will give up open threes all game to opponents. They live and die by it. An old philosophy in the modern game. Doris speaking truth on national TV. Love her for it. Look, I knew this was going to come up. There's open threes and there's open threes. So, and we've seen every version. To your credit, we've seen a lot of different versions of the Knicks defense giving up open threes. So I guess in a way you're right, because like when their defense breaks down, it only breaks down in one way. It breaks down because teams hit a lot of threes. That said, we've seen incredible confusion on defense in terms of guys not knowing where to be. We've seen like the maddening drop coverage involving like guys who should just not be in drop or don't play drop well enough to be in drop. We've seen opportunity, instances where it's just like switch more, right? That wasn't really what happened tonight. This was just guys going under screens that shouldn't have gone under screens. This was guys just getting caught up on picks, just guys being too low when they didn't need to be, like, and not in like an alert fashion. That's why I don't know if I describe it as a lack of crispness, a lack of urgency. This was not, to me, this was not the Knicks give up a million threes, their scheme sucks. That's not what tonight was to me. Tonight was a combination of there weren't enough guys locked in on the defensive end, 1, and 2, again, give credit where credit is due. 22 for 40. I don't know exactly how many of those were on shots that you just got to tip your cap. The defense was really good. Maybe about half, give or take 2, Yeah. It is what it is. Overall, their defense has underperformed. Again, they're missing Mitch. Downplay that at your own risk. That's all I'll say. Thank you, Joseph J. Appreciate it as always. Ham DM with another one. I'm trying to see the coach through your eyes, John. Serenity now, serenity now. Hope you feel better, my friend. I mean, I don't know what. This is another one of those things. Again, I'm always defending Tom because everybody's so quick to kill him. If people weren't so quick to kill him, I wouldn't be so quick to defend him. He's like any other coach. I find it funny now, a certain subset of people who I guess appreciate the fact that I die on this hill night after night after night. Anytime they come across a tweet or, usually a tweet from some content creator of another team or a fan of another team being like, fire this coach. We're never going to go anywhere with this coach. I have to remind you guys, everybody does this. And I feel like every fan base has to have one idiot that sits in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, and at least, tries to bring some balance to the conversation. Tonight was not a Tom Thibodeau loss. If they consistently came out and did not play crisp defense or didn't try hard enough, then that's a coaching problem. That's not the problem this team has. I don't know if you're referring to that specifically. You're just saying generally you wish you could see this coach through my eyes. I would not wish that on anyone. It's a fate worse than death. Thanks, Hamdi. Fargo Tufo, F Brooklyn, F Kyrie. Move on to the next one. Great comment. I love that comment. Fantastic. Stevens Guillaume. What's going on, Stevens? Just can't beat those damn New Jersey Nets. Can I make an amendment to that? New Jersey Swamp Dragons. Still one of my favorite Zach Lowe pieces ever. Glad you're feeling better, Macri. I'm not feeling all the way back, although this will tell you how under the weather I've been. This is the first alcoholic beverage I'm having. What am I having here? Having some Night Shine Black Lager, which it's okay. It's the closest thing my local supermarket has to a porter or a stout that's decent. So it's okay. It's good. I like it. But this is the first alcoholic beverage I've had in several days. And I really, really wanted something after the Boston game to celebrate. But a couple post-game comments from one from Julius Randle. We weren't ready. I would agree with that sentiment. You know what I'd love what Julius to do? I'm sorry. I sang enough of his praises this year that I could critique him a little bit. I wasn't ready. Maybe he said that also, and that wasn't just part of the quote. And yes, make it about the team. Stick together as a team. You win as a team. You lose as a team. The whole thing. I wouldn't have killed him to be like, we weren't ready, and in particular, I was not ready. And then Tibbs also had some thoughts on the officiating tonight, which I'm not going to share now because it's not transcribed for me. Okay, moving on. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? I like the lack of the trade for Mitchell. This squad plus Spida is legit, but we need all the pieces we have. Too bad free agency is dead. Trying to think. In 2024, we're going to be sitting around saying the death of NBA free agency is vastly overrated. I will say this. There is and Bobby Marks has talked about it on a couple pods over the last week and change. There's apparently some discussion as it pertains to the next CBA, collective bargaining agreement, of giving teams the opportunity to extend players who they signed at relative bargain contracts. So guys like OG Anunoby, Jaylen Brown, Domantas Sabonis, DeJounte Murray, all the guys, coincidentally enough, who were slated to hit free agency in 2024. Giving guys like that, or giving the teams that have those contracts to extend guys for more than the max 20% raise and go up to whatever their max is. That, I don't know if that would be the death of free agency, but it would, I think, alter. I wonder how much it would alter a lot. Some teams' plans for 2024. Now, look, I don't think free agency will ever be truly dead. It's neither here nor there. Look, the Knicks they've shown their hand. They're gonna, at some point, they're gonna try to trade for that guy, and they're gonna need to, because that guy, whoever that guy is not going to hit free agency. because those guys don't hit free agents anymore. But I do believe that they will need to make a big free agent signing at some point. Even though they've made 2, right? Brunson, Randall. Those are 2 free agent signings. So, you never know. Thanks, Dan. Luffy, what's going on, Luffy? Oh, this is harsh. Miles isn't an NBA player. He hasn't made a 3 in 9 of his last 10 games. His defense does not justify his non-existent offense. Get him off the team. Well, a couple things. One, don't get him off the team. He's a second-year player. He's a second-round draft pick. Keep him on the team. They like him. They want to keep him on the team. They should keep him on the team. They should keep developing him. He is a broken jump shot away from being a solid end of the rotation player. His size is always going to be an issue. Even if he was 42% on catch and shoot threes, I still think you put that guy on a real contender, there's a chance he's maybe not seeing more than 5-10 minutes in a really high-level playoff game because his size is what it is, and you're going to get teams that are just going to switch him onto big wings who can move with the ball, and they're going to take advantage of him. But, like, that dude's – I think he's an NBA player now. Is he one that should be getting minutes for a playoff team with his offensive liabilities? Maybe not. What I will say, I thought he had 2 nice moments in the first half. Now, granted, one ended in great shame when Nick Claxton took the ball that he was trying to dunk into the rim and sent it in some other direction. He also had a drive where he tried to finish at the rim on like a somewhat contested layup and it missed. I liked seeing that from him. I liked him trying to attack. It did not end well tonight, but to me, that is a sign of growth and development. And again, for the umpteenth time, I'm going to steal a point from Benji. Like you're seeing those little signs from Deuce. You're seeing those little signs, and you like to see that. Didn't end well tonight. Is he hurting the Knicks sometimes right now? Yeah, he's hurting the Knicks. Might be hurting them more than he's helping them. And that's ultimately why I do think this team is going to make a trade, not just to get Cam Reddish out of here, but I think that's why you're hearing the Grayson Allen rumors. Like Grayson Allen comes in, you put Grayson Allen and you give him Deuce McBride's minutes, that's going to piss people off to no end, but that's going to make them a better basketball team. Without question. It's going to make them instantly. It's going to make them a better basketball team. You know, but don't kick him to the curb just yet. There's a player in there somewhere. Thanks, Luffy. Ham DM, there's another one. I used to coach my son's soccer team. Obi is like those kids that just came for the snacks as long as everyone is having fun. Didn't love this game from Obi tonight. I thought, again, Doris Burke was on point. She said it. You would have liked to see Obi take that shot. Like, have confidence or pump fake into a drive, you know, and that's the thing that struck me about tonight, watching the Nets in particular. Sorry, is their drive and kick game. Now, look, they only have one creator right now. So, like, their drive and kick game kind of needs to be perfect in order for them to get good looks, unless Kyrie's just going to manufacture stuff, right? But their drive and kick game is pretty flawless. Like, they don't have anyone out there other than Day'Ron Sharpe. I was going to say other than their centers, but fucking Nick Claxton's putting the ball on the floor. I'm pretty sure Nick Claxton had more assists than anybody on the Knicks tonight. Like, that's a crazy stat, and I kind of want to go back and watch all those assists and see how he got them. But, like, again, great job by him. Great job by that franchise developing him into this sort of player that can get 6 assists. But, like, all of them, everybody on the floor for the Nets has the ability to put the ball on the floor and make the next pass. The Knicks don't really always have that. Like, we praise Grimes for that because it's kind of so rare, you know, at least in terms of their their ancillary players, the rest of their role players, and even their big players, right? They're RJ and Brunson, Randall. Like they're not quick enough in the decisions that they make. I mean, look at the assists tonight. The Nets had 31 assists tonight. The Knicks ended up with 19, and they got a few late. I went on a whole tangent on something that you didn't even bring up, but sorry, you just spurred that thought. Anyway, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? Great to hear from you. Salute from Mexico. Awesome. I wish I was in Mexico right now. It's hard to be too mad when we stole 2 wins in 3 games that we all thought were losses a week ago. Completely agree. Let's talk trades. Does the Turner extension make things move because it's slow? So the thing about the Turner extension, and terrible job by me, I didn't realize this until Bobby Marks tweeted it out. They can still trade him. Now, should we assume that Miles Turner only signed this extension because he thinks he's going to remain in Indiana? Quite frankly, I'm not sure he cares that much after he went on fucking podcast with Woj earlier this year and advocated for why the Lakers should trade for him. He can still be traded. So I think, and I wrote about this a little bit last week, and I'll say it now. I think the reason you're seeing such a slow trade market is the Hachimura trade was like its own thing. Like the Lakers wanted to get, first of all, timing is everything. Like every win matters for them, right? So like they wanted to get someone. They didn't want to trade a first-round pick. They're saving their firsts until the right deal comes along, if it comes along. They're dangling the seconds. There was probably, they probably had some alternate options. Hello, Cam Reddish, if they wanted to put 2 seconds on the table. So then maybe it's like, okay, we'll give you the 3rd second, but you got to trade him to us today. You can't wait 2 weeks to keep Hachimura and see if you get that first. You got to trade him to us today. Otherwise, we're sending 2 seconds to New York, or we're just going to get Cam Reddish. Well, that's how you end up with Rui Hachimura 2 weeks before the end of the trade deadline. I don't know that any of that I just said is true, but you could see why that specific trade happened already. The rest of the league, everybody wants the same sorts of guys. Everybody wants fucking Jay Crowder, Alex Caruso, Grayson Allen, Eric Gordon. I'm trying to think of other like these tweener wings, like 2, 3, 4 type of guys that can, they could play in the playoffs. They're going to be able to give you minutes if you're a playoff team. You want to put Malik Beasley on that list. You want to put the kid from Charlotte. I forget which one. Vanderbilt. I always get the guy from Utah confused with the guy that's on Charlotte. McDaniels, Vanderbilt. They're both on the block. Like all those sorts of guys, right? Guys that could step in and be a cog as like a 3-and-D, big wing, small wing, whatever on a playoff team. No one wants to set the market for the first one of those guys. So that's why I think we haven't seen anything. And I don't think the Turner thing, the extension on Turner, I don't think that affects anything. I think that this is going to really go down, and I think we're going to get to. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if a week from now we're sitting here and we're looking around and there hasn't been one of these guys traded yet. I think it's going to be an active deadline, but I think it's going to be late. I think we're going to be waiting for a bit. That's my gut feeling. I could be wrong, but who knows? Thanks, Junon. Busy with another one. Thank you, Busy, so much. Reflecting back on tonight's game, it was a little more than just top end. The Nets move the ball to get shots. Yep, you're preaching to the choir. Not always relying on their star to isolate and get 2 on the ball to get someone open shots. Yeah, 100%. And credit to them. Here's another one from Busy. Thank you again, Busy. That offense is more sustainable and easily able to duplicate results versus isolation. Then late game ISO looks a lot differently when it's used only at the end of games versus all the time. This is probably my favorite comments you've ever had, Busy. look, the Knicks, I thought, here's the thing. I thought not that they were able to ever shut that offense down, but if you have guys defending on their toes, really getting after it on defense, like you can keep up with those. You can keep up with those rotations. It's not easy to keep up with those rotations, but you can keep up with those rotations when there's no one that has the ability to really bend your defense. Now, I say that, and the collection of guys they've assembled where everybody from let's just really quickly go through their roster real quick, because I'm not disagreeing with you that it is play style. It is play style. You have to make a conscious effort to play this way. But like Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Patty Mills. I mean, Royce O'Neal certainly did it tonight, but like those other three guys, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, like those guys are not point guards by trade. And they're all so good about making the right decision, making the quick decision, making the next decision. And they're also really good shooters too. So when you combine those skill sets on a team, and like I don't think the Knicks have anybody as good as those three guys that I just mentioned at that particular skill. Knicks obviously have other skills in other areas. But that combination of skills, you want to throw O'Neal in there too. Royce O'Neal is obviously a better defender, not as good of a shooter. Watanabe, I didn't even mention Watanabe. The guy didn't miss from three tonight. The guy's become now. Is he as good with the decision making as far as like making the next play, putting the ball on the floor? Maybe not as good, but when you're as lethal from three as he is, maybe you don't even need to be. Like they have done such a great job combining play style with roster management, and then obviously when they have their two stars healthy, and I did say two stars intentionally, and then you get the development that you got from Claxton as like another cog. I mean, it really is like they should be the hardest offense to guard in the playoffs, at least in the East. At least in the East. Better than Boston, I believe. I would have to think about whether they're harder to guard than a fully healthy Nuggets team or a fully healthy Warriors team. But whatever. Top three offense to guard. Yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want. But credit to them. They've assembled the right kind of roster. Like you have to have players that are good at that stuff. And they have them, you know. Thanks, Busy. Forgotten NYC, too many sag off, help ball handler, open threes. Yeah, it's being stout at the point of attack. Here, Thibodeau will talk about that all the time. Deny penetration. Simple. Deny penetration. That's digging your heels in. Completely agree. Fargo Tufo with another one. I noticed the Brooklyn scorekeeper putting up lots of points on the board for Kyrie in the fourth. New Reddit scandal, question mark? That's the comment of the night. Comment of the night. Robert Cross. Glad you're feeling better, John. Let's talk Emmanuel quickly. I'm feeling like he's a future NBA All-Star. Hashtag 53 wins. Robert, first of all, what are we going to do when they get loss number 30? 6 more to go. Might not make it past the All-Star, big buddy. Just saying. Will IQ ever make an All-Star team? I'm trying to think, what odds would you have to give me for me to actually bet? If you gave me 10-1 odds that Emmanuel Quickley is going to make one All-Star team. I'd think about it. 20-1 odds, I'd put some money down. 20-1, I'd put $100 down. Because sure, why not? I think I need 20-1, not 10-1. But who cares? He's a winning basketball player. Get him on your team. You could argue he's the most winning player they have, maybe aside from Jalen Brunson. And he defends. Thanks, Robert. And he was the best. He really was. I gave him. I had to give flowers to RJ, but I thought he was really good. Forgotten NYC with another one. Thank you for all the generous contributions, Forgotten NYC. Would prefer if Sims didn't punch an offensive rebound into the seventh row. Man, he lacks a certain like we thought Mitch wasn't finessed. Sims does not have finesse. Happened twice tonight and he should have come down with both rebounds. Again, I said it a few times. You miss Mitch. You watch a game like this and you really miss Mitchell Robinson. I miss Mitchell Robinson. That's for sure. Come back, Mitch, please, soon. Yanni, what's going on, Yanni Golan? Hey, John, it's not just you. I can't watch RJ anymore. That's harsh. Come on. Even when he's scoring, RJ plus two protected picks for OG Anunoby. Good night. Feel better. Let's go Knicks. Thank you, Yanni. Why are you trying to get me in trouble? I was doing so well tonight. I mean, you want the honest answer? The honest answer is Toronto says no. They're not. I don't think they're doing that. OG Anunoby for two protected first round picks plus RJ. I think Toronto says no. I don't know if New York offers that, to be clear. New York may say no. New York might not offer that. The only thing I would ever, and I said this over the summer, so I don't feel like I definitely said this over the summer. I think the Knicks internally are very much like the fan base and the larger NBA community, which is that I think this has been reported by other people, so I feel very comfortable saying this. There are people within the Knicks who love RJ Barrett and believe in RJ Barrett, and I think there are people within the Knicks who are not the biggest fans of RJ Barrett. So I think that trade construction, I bet you that would spur some vigorous debate within the front office. But I don't think Toronto would do it, and I don't think the Knicks would do it either. That's my gut feeling. Forgotten NYC with another one. Is it fair and reasonable to say that iHeart saved his season? He's been awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because there's been trade talk or trade rumors in connection to him going to, I guess, the Clippers. He looks better. If he plays like this the rest of the year, that's great. And I like that Jericho Sims is getting this time. I appreciate it for him. Good job. Good job giving him the time. Ready for Mitch to be back. And when Mitch is back, Isaiah Hartenstein should be the backup center. Thanks, Forgotten. L. Paul, what's going on, L. Paul? What the fuck? Play 10 minutes, stand in the corner. You're a big part of this loss. I'm done. Oh, I guess you're referencing Obi Toppin. Yeah, I mean, look, the usage questions are there. They're always going to be there. Sorry. We could all get on here every time the Knicks lose a game and Obi Toppin plays 10 minutes. He's not really involved in the offense. It's the same song for 3 years. I don't really know what else to say, but like it's on him. He has the unenviable task that when he's in the game, he has to make the most of those minutes. And I'll reference something I said earlier tonight, which is that the lesser your role is, the more perfect you have to be. And that means not taking any possessions off or not being on your toes on defense. There's two ends of the court. And Obi Toppin did not hold up his end of the bargain on the defensive end tonight. And when you get the ball in your hands, make something happen. Do something. Make the right play. Take a shot. It might be a shot, might be a drive, might be a kick, whatever. Make the right play. It might be that is unfair. It is unfair, the situation that they have placed this player in. Completely unfair. It is what it is. This is his lot in life right now. We'll see if he has Different situation at some point in the near future. Chris Carter, what's going on, Chris? I think six is the best the Knicks could reasonably be expected to do. So they're right where they need to be. By the way, I haven't forgiven you for the RJ tweet. I have a feeling it's amazing how that got under people's skin. I guess you know what it is? Because I tweet so little now. And when I do tweet, I go out of my way to make them the most milquetoast, bland, like just because even when you tweet something that is bland, you'll still get people that will give you shit for it. But the funny thing about that tweet is I tweeted it in the first half, and he was worse for the rest of the game until the 3, obviously. But he got worse. Not a good game. And Benji summed it up very well. Like, give praise where praise is due. Hit the biggest shot of the season, you could argue. But no, it's not a good RJ game. Are they where they need to be, the Knicks? Let's talk about that briefly. I guess we could do a little mini standings update. So I don't think they're going to get 6th. I think the Heat are going to get 6th. Even though the Heat almost lost to the Magic last night. So Miami is in 6th. They're 7 back. New York is a game and a half back of Miami. They're a game in front of Atlanta. And they are 3 games in front of Indiana. I think Indiana will continue to fall. And then the Knicks are 3.5 in front of Washington and Chicago, and they're 4.5 in front of Toronto. Would it shock me if either one of Washington or Toronto or Chicago or Toronto put a little bit of pressure on them at some point this season? Wouldn't shock me. I still think Atlanta's the team you probably got to worry about. That game, that's why I don't want to assume that Mitch is going to be out till the All-Star break, because that last game before the All-Star break is against Atlanta. And, like, you want to talk about a big game. That's a big game. That's a big fucking game. That is at Atlanta on the 15th. That's important. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Haitian, what's going on? Haitian, great to hear from you the other night on our town hall. Tonight puts pressure on the front office to fix this bench. We need at least one more shot maker. I'm done with the McBride experiment. Missing Alec Burks. Well, unfortunately, we can't trade back for Alec Burks, so that stinks. Yeah, I have an article coming out probably. No. When do they play next? The Knicks play I have the schedule right here. Should probably look at it. They play the Lakers on Tuesday. Oh, that's nice. They have 2 days off. That's great. So probably on Tuesday, I'm going to have a little bit of an examination of the possibilities for a Cam trade, and I'm going to focus on Grayson Allen because Grayson Allen has been the name that's been rumored. But in short, like, they could use Cam in one of 2 ways. They can try to use Cam as outgoing salary, where the team acquiring him probably isn't going to care about him at all as a player, and then add something to his outgoing salary to acquire a player that is going to help their team. Now, there are lots of players that can fit in terms of, if you're looking at the salary cap. Grayson Allen could fit, which is probably why they're kicking the tires on him. Jay Crowder could technically fit. Alex Caruso can fit. And some guys can't. Like Malik Beasley makes too much money, and Eric Gordon makes too much money. So you'd have to add, a Derrick Rose or whatever. But, like, they could use Cam that way, or they could just try to get whatever they can get in terms of picks for him. See if you get a good second, see if you get a couple seconds. Maybe one of them's good. But I think if you ask me right now, bet money, are they going to add a player before the deadline that will essentially take Deuce's rotation minutes? I would wager that they will attain such a player. That is my guess. It's only a guess. I haven't heard anything. Not that anything I hear is that important. But no, that's my guess. Luffy, I hate losing to Allen Ivermectin. I don't know if I get that. ivermectin. I'm sure that's probably very obvious, and I'm just very old and or not very bright. But I hate losing to him too. Jibo, can we take the kid gloves off with Quentin Grimes? Open shots. Yeah. Wasn't good tonight. Wasn't good enough. I hate the reason I hate killing the kid is because he always gives you max effort. He always tries to make the right play. And both of those things are really valuable. And like he doesn't get discouraged and he doesn't let offensive struggles get in the way of his defense. Like or defensive struggles get in the way of the next defensive possession. I thought he had some not great defensive possessions tonight and then came back and had some pretty good defensive possessions tonight. And like again, where do you draw the line? Where is it like, okay, Kyrie's making amazing shots, Grimes might be on him. Like, what do you do? The Knicks, even at the end there, what were the Nets trying to do? They were trying to screen to get Grimes off of Kyrie. Because for as much as Kyrie was on fire, they know it's a lot easier to make a shot over a Brunson or an RJ or literally anyone else on the floor. So, like, we're criticizing him, and I understand that, and I'm not saying that criticism is not warranted, but he is the best on-ball defender on the Knicks. That has real value. They need that. Their season changed when him and Mitchell Robinson went into the starting lineup. That's not an accident. And like overall, his numbers this year are good. Like I'll look them up right now, but his numbers are not bad this year. I can tell you that. His numbers are not bad. As Zach Braziller of the Post sends out a negative tweet about Quentin Grimes. Thanks, Jibo. Appreciate it. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? How are you? Always good to hear from you. Hurry back, Mitch. Yes. Also, need another knockdown shooter and quickly, too. Bounce back in a big way next week. So we should say who the games are against next week. So next week, 4-game homestand. This is an interesting one. Lakers, Miami, Clippers, Philly. Now, Philly, playing as well as any team in the league. Had a great win today against Denver. Probably not getting that one, but you never know. The other 3 games are interesting. Lakers, Miami, Clippers. Now, Miami always plays us well, but they also haven't really been Miami this year, but they always play us well. That's a game I'm going to watch very carefully. The Lakers and the Clippers, can they get one of those games? Can they get one of those games and the Miami game? Or if they don't get the Miami game, can they get both of the LA games? Like, looking at next week, and then they go to Orlando. Orlando's been playing very well. They would do, if you throw in the Orlando game, so home, Lakers, Miami, Clippers, Philly, road, Orlando. Again, I'm echoing kind of what we talked, what my sentiment was before this past week. Where can I sign for 2 and 3? Where do I sign for 2 and 3 there? Give me the piece of paper. Because after that, it's at Philly, Utah home, Brooklyn home, maybe with KD, probably not with KD. But again, we know Nets don't need KD to beat us. And then last game before the All-Star break at Atlanta. So, like, that's what I keep. Give me 3 more wins. Give me 3 more wins, 500 going into the All-Star break. If you get 2 over 500, great. I'll sign for 500. Jibo with another one. We lamented not trading Julius Randle in 2021. How about now? Yeah. That's one thing I've apologized for enough. So I don't feel bad about that. Wanted to trade him. Would have been the wrong decision. He's been very good. Wasn't great tonight. He was very good, though. Thanks, Jibo. Blue Diamond Gem. How much to get Jalen Williams back from Oklahoma City? Well, it's not back because he wasn't our draft pick, but that was the guy. And shout out to Chris Persianen. Chris was touting Jalen Williams all draft season as the guy that the Knicks should have circled. I liked him, but I didn't do as much homework as Chris, and I didn't like him as much as Chris. I didn't put myself out there as much as Chris, but I liked him. I'm not surprised at all what he's doing. Talk about the sort of guy the Knicks. You want to talk about the sort of guy the Knicks could use? Oh my Lord, would he have slotted in perfectly on this team? Make Quickley the backup point guard. He essentially takes Deuce's minutes. And then you got Obi and your backups. I mean, and then you have another piece going forward that you love and that you can build around. And it makes it easier if you need to trade one of these kids. Like right now, the thought of trading either Quickley or Grimes. I know Grimes didn't have a great night tonight, but like the thought of trading one of them is like, oh my God, please no. If you have one more of those sorts of guys, then if you need to include one of these kids in a trade, it's not the end of the world. Now it feels like at the end of the world because you've left yourself no margin for error. But you have those 3 protected picks. And when you put it like that, when you put the 3 protected picks into that sort of a context, and it's like, man, we could have had that kid. Now all of a sudden, maybe not all of a sudden, some people have been shouting this from the rafters since they made that trade or since they didn't use those picks to get Donovan Mitchell. Like the notion of like, oh, well, we have all these protected picks. Let's just throw one in to get, an Eric Gordon or, some such Band-Aid veteran player. It's not as easy to be convinced of that when you give up on a talent like that. And again, I would argue he was the obvious pick for them, not Jalen Duren. Thanks, Blue Diamond Gem. Appreciate it. Mango Man, what's going on, Mango Man? Grimes is okay. Not knowing if you'll see the ball again is tough, but that's also his role, That's his role on this team. IQ has I'm not saying it's easy, but we've seen him be successful in that role before. I think he could be successful in that role again, and his role will get bigger as the years go on. IQ has the necessary level of I don't give a fuck in him to succeed regardless of the game plan. Yeah, I don't well, hold on. I said I was going to give you Grimes' numbers, so let me do that first. So Grimes on the year, he is shooting it a lot more. He took 5 attempts from the field per game last year. He's taking 8 per game this year. Last year, he shot at 38% from 3. This year, he's shooting at 36% from 3. So there's a drop there. But Grimes is shooting at 61% from 2-point range. Overall, Grimes is actually shooting it better this year than last year. And he shot it really well last year. He's at 56.6 effective field goal percentage. He's getting to the line more. He's shooting a free throw and a half per game. More assists. I know it was a rough game from Grimes, but let's settle down on the Quentin Grimes stuff because he's had an outstanding year for a second-year player, and he's still a steal at the 25th pick. As far as Quickley goes, I feel like Quickley is he doesn't need to commandeer the offense or go rogue to get his shots or have an attitude I don't give a fuck. I think Quickley is doing a better and better and better job of knowing when to shoot and knowing when to pass because earlier in the year, I think he was too hesitant. I've talked about that before. More recently, I think he's making all the right decisions. That's why it's any Knick game you watch, without fail, you're like, oh, Emmanuel Quickley. Yeah, he was one of the best 3 players on the court tonight. It's like clockwork. That's why he's their metronome. That's what he is. But yeah, how many shots did Quickley take tonight? But I'm looking at his past. If you look, basically since the beginning of December, he's taking double-digit shots pretty much every game. Maybe it's a game here, a game there where he doesn't, but he's shooting it a lot. And that's by design. So good job by Emmanuel Quickley. Thanks, Mango Man. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? I'm proud. I'm in person proud of the team's fight tonight. I know you were there at the arena. I'm sorry they couldn't win one for you. Kyrie's a top 10 talent ever. Oh, my God. I don't even know how I would go about having that conversation. Deuce's jumper, sad face, Macri. When is this? Macri over SAS. Stephen A. Smith? I don't know. You are woefully underpaid, but fire Thins? Fire Tibbs. I think someone had a couple of cocktails at the game tonight. JK. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. I was in a Barnes & Noble earlier today, and I saw Stephen A. Smith has a book for sale. I will not be purchasing that book. But good for him. Demetrius Hampton, FTLT Mac, Don Corleone offer for SGA. Who says no? The Thunder. That's an easy one. They're not trading. And is that the last one? Was that the last one? Okay. I guess that was we're done. Thank you everybody for welcoming me back, for not revolting that my bad fortune brought us a loss tonight. Maybe if Benji was pre-planned to be on after this game, unlike the Boston game, they would have won. I take full responsibility. But it happens, it happens. So couple quick announcements. Jeremy and I will be recording tomorrow, I believe, with Andrew in tow. I think we're recording tomorrow morning because there is a day of football tomorrow that some people that are part of this podcast would like to partake in. So we're going to record tomorrow morning. So hopefully there are no major trades that go down on Sunday. And then, we got a pod drop in on Monday. Very excited about that one. A guest I always love to talk to. And then the march to the All-Star break continues. Hopefully they do not look back at this one with an especially large amount of regret. That would be unfortunate. Anyway, all right. I'm going to go watch the rest of this Boston Lakers game and hope that LeBron doesn't score 70 points so he puts himself on track to potentially break the all-time scoring record in MSG next week. Thank you for tuning in tonight, everyone. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow Knicks Film School on social media at Knick Film School. That's SKOOL. Appreciate you. See everybody later, and peace out.